capacity and giving us the illusion that they had the authority. But all corporations derive their authority, all corporate political bodies, from the people that they govern. Right? So if you don't give them the right to govern you, which Trump signed the second Declaration of Independence in July of 2020. Right? So I sent that to you. We were probably going to get some pulling up. Yep. So like the first 5 minutes of that video is fire. All right. Now we go to something called collective rights. That means when we stand together in unity, all this right here apply to us standing together as the collective unified clans on the land or the tribes of the land. Indigenous people have collective rights that are indispensable for their existence, well-being, and integral development as a people. In that regard, states recognize and respect the rights of indigenous people to their collective action, to their that word look like it's misspelled.
Action.
It's juridical, which it should have been jurisdictional, social, political, or judicial, social, political, and economic systems or institutions. This is giving us back control of Big Mama Bank right here.
Yeah.
To their own cultures. Our culture, we already had a banking system. To profess and practice their spiritual beliefs, to use their own tongues and languages, and to their lands, territories, and resources, states shall promote with the full and effective, let's go to the next page.
Oh, shit. Right there.
Participation of indigenous peoples, the harmonious coexistence of the rights and systems of different population groups and cultures. This is saying that one clan can't interfere with how another clan handle their business, but at the same time, all of us can come together in agreement to oust the imposter. That's basically what it's saying. Keep going. We don't deal with it because we already know what the gender thing is with our people.
All right, let's go. Rights belong to indigenous people.
Right to belong to indigenous people. Indigenous individuals and communities have the right to belong to one or more indigenous peoples in accordance with the identity, traditions, customs, and systems of belonging of each people. No discrimination of any kind may arise from the existence of such a right. Right? So they recognize that we got different cultures under tribes, and they recognize that we shouldn't be, there's no more discrimination based on that. Right? Judicial personality. Oh, that's a good one. States shall recognize. Is that judicial? I can't really tell. It looked like, okay, states shall recognize fully the judicial personality of indigenous people, respecting indigenous forms of organization and promoting the full existence of the rights recognized in this declaration. That looked like juridical.
Yeah, that's what I think it is. I don't think it's juridical.
Yeah, that's coming from the root word juris and jurisprudence.
Matter of fact.
Yeah, you got the legal dictionary. Pull the definition of that motherfucker up so we can get more detail with this shit.
That shit ain't running no game. But think about how they play the words, man. They be twisting shit around. Okay.
Now, the two most important parts I want to get to after we define this word is where they said that because this one made me think about it. It's like indigenous people had a right to maintain, express, and freely develop their cultural identity in all respects, free from any external attempt at assimilation. That means they can no longer force us to assimilate into the overall society in order to be functional as a tribe. That means that we can do business with our own, and we ain't gonna suffer no backlash from it. And remember what Garvey said, beware them assimilationist ass Negroes.
That joint not even in this joint. Let's see. I might can pull up on JRT. All right. In the civil law of Louisiana, the expression of will that is intended to have legal consequences.
Read that again. So, kind of like staticky when he was reading.
It says in expressing or will that is intended to have legal consequences.
Yeah. So it goes back to the root word, like I said, juris, which is dealing with the law. So this is saying that there will be lawful impact for interfering with us.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. So now we want to go to the part where they say we got a right to all tribal lands.
Because this is the protecting against genocide. People have the right not to be the objects of any form of genocide or attempted to exterminate them. That's already happening. I was waiting to it is to go down to the land, right? Culture, identifying. That's not it. Man, that's right. Some good stuff right here for teach your kids. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Especially in America.
This part right here was talking about going back to our own culture. Now this is giving us the right to educate our children right here.
Okay.
Education.
You want okay, keep on going?
Mm-hmm.
All right, go down. Indigenous spiritual. That's like the practice.
Oh, stop right there. We got to read that. Our spirituality is important enough for us to read that here on page 17. That's a Q flip. Indigenous people had a right to freely to exercise their own spirituality and beliefs, and by virtue of that right to practice, develop, transmit, and teach their traditions, customs, and ceremonies, and to carry them out in public and in private, whether individually or collectively. So this is so that when we have Mardi Gras from coast to coast, nobody don't try to stop us. That's what that's for.
Mm-hmm. All right. You gonna read the part 2 or keep on going down?
I want to go to the part on the land.
Land, okay, indigenous family.
And the resources.
Okay, all right, here. Right to protect, help, environment. All right, resemble freedom. It's like the Constitution is kind of like based on some of this stuff too, with all the add-ons.
Mm-hmm. Right there, stop.
Okay, right here.
Back up.
Okay.
Autonomy and self-government. That's important.
Okay, right there.
Yeah. Remember, I was telling you to be autonomous. Self-government is to govern yourself, is to be autonomous. This is right here, the right to autonomy or self-government. Indigenous people, in exercising their right to self-determination, have the right to autonomy or self-government in matters relating to their internal and local affairs, as well as ways and means for financing their autonomous functions. So they saying from this that it's got to be provided for them to do this. provisions got to be made, right? 2, indigenous people had a right to maintain and develop their own decision-making institutions. This talking about restoring the matriarchy right here. They also have the right to participate in decision-making in matters which would affect their rights. Anything affect our rights, if we ain't in it, they can't do it.
Okay.
They may do so directly or through representatives, and in accordance with their own norms, procedures, and traditions. They also have a right to equal opportunities in accessing and participating fully and effectively as peoples in all national institutions and forums, including deliberative bodies. That means no politics go down and they exclude us. They right there, they agree that don't no politics go down on this land called the Americas, and we ain't in it. All right, let's go. Indigenous law and jurisdiction. Indigenous people had a right to promote, develop, and maintain their institutional structures and their distinctive customs, spirituality, traditions, procedures, practices, and in the cases where they exist, judicial systems or customs in accordance with international human rights standards.
Okay.
Oh, no. Excuse me 1 second.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so and then it say indigenous law and legal systems shall be recognized and respected by national, regional, and international legal systems. Right. So this is because when we kick them off the land, they jurists got to go. They bar associations have to go. Right. And you already heard them say that they've been already told to leave.
Yeah, they formed.
I sent you that video, didn't I? All right. Now, matters concerning indigenous individuals or their rights or interests in the jurisdiction of each state shall be conducted in such a way as to afford indigenous individuals the right to full representation with dignity and equality before the law. Consequently, they are entitled without discrimination to equal protection and benefit of the law, including the use of linguistic and cultural interpreters. Right? So now it's a part in here. Let's hold on. It's a matters concerning indigenous individuals or their rights or interests in the jurisdiction of each state shall be conducted in such a way as to afford indigenous individuals the right to full representation with dignity and equality before the law. This is the part where we call Larry Hoover for with this. Because he has to give a report on the land to the rest of the chiefs, and he can't do it as an inmate. He can't be a bond servant and a king or a prince or a chief. Right? So this is what this is telling us. He has to give us this report. They already know that this is part of our long-standing tradition before they ever came here. Right? That's why they said we're not going to remember our culture. This is telling us when we lean on our culture, they have to accommodate. That's what that's saying. So this is the part where we calling for free Larry Hoover right here, because the three kings represent full representation on the world stage. And you see right here where it say they are entitled without discrimination to equal protection and benefit of the law, including the use of linguistic and cultural interpreters. And equality. Okay, so it was one before that where it was saying this is even applying international law. Right? So the goal is to go back to our culture.
That's right. That's right. That's heavy. Go ahead.
All right. So now let's see if we can't find about the land.
Okay. Let's go down. Trees agreements. This is good stuff right here to have in the archives, man.
Yeah. This is the
here you go right here.
Traditional forms of property and cultural right to land, territory, and resources. Now watch what it say. Because it's now remember, this is legalese, so every word, I'll go back up.
I got you right there.
Every word is deliberate and intentional. It's been scrutinized by many, many legal writers for every single word. So this is important to know at this part of the read. It's number one, indigenous people have the right to maintain and strengthen their distinctive spiritual, cultural, and material relationship with their lands, territories, and resources, and to uphold their responsibilities to preserve them for themselves and for future generations. That's giving us the entirety of the land right there to take charge of. Right? Indigenous people have the right to the lands, territories, and resources. That's reparations, y'all. Resources which they have traditionally owned, occupied, or otherwise used and acquired. Right? That's critical. Indigenous people have the right to own, use, develop, and control. See that word control in there?
Yep, control.
Lands, territories, and resources that they possess by reason of traditional ownership or other traditional occupation or use, as well as those which they otherwise acquired. This is telling you right here that the clan that used to be over the coal mines, they gonna inherit the coal mines. And the wealth accumulated with interest from coal mines ever since them motherfuckers been here. That's the resource that they talking about. Right? Okay, let's go to the next one. States shall give legal recognition and protection to these lands, territories, and resources. Again, such recognition shall not be conducted with due respect to the customs, traditions, and land tenure system of the indigenous peoples concerned. Right? So that means that they have to honor the tradition of the people that's concerned or that's making the people known to what's going on the land. Right? Now, it's a indigenous people have the right to legal recognition of the various and particular modalities, that means different modes and forms of property, possession, and ownership of their lands, territories, and resources. Keep saying resources.
Yeah, right. That's heavy.
Right? That's all of the stuff that they grab from the earth to sustain the life of the people on the earth. Those are resources. In accordance with the legal system of each state and the relative or the relevant international instruments, states shall establish special regiments appropriate for such recognition and for their effective demarcation or titling. That means that we can change the boundary lines according to clans and tribal traditions back to what they was, if we so choose to. Because that's what demarcation or titling is. That's holding deeds to land that you can rent out, which means you tax, and to draw the boundary lines, how much of the land is encased in this land, this boundary. That's called a line of demarcation, right?
Hey, Hey, the Louisiana Purchase was bigger. That Louisiana Purchase land that they had, it was bigger than just Louisiana when they did that
Yeah.
land.
So what they did is they followed the Rocky Mountains up the West Coast to Oregon and Washington State. And then they marched back across the land. They went to the Appalachian Mountains. So it's everything south of the Mississippi. I mean, not the Canadian border, everything south of the Canadian border. West of the Appalachian Mountains, east of the Rocky Mountains, going down into Louisiana. That's Big Mama land.
Yeah. Yeah, cooking up with Big Mama.
Right. Now, all of our settlers, anybody that came, had to settle on the eastern side of the Appalachians. If they came from the east, if they came from the west, they had to settle on the western portion from the Rockies on the western side to the coast. Right, until they was able to get a viable piece of land. Big Mama would allot them a piece of land once they've been around and the nature of them is seen. Then she give them a plot of land and tell them, vine and fig tree, what you do on this land is your own vine and fig tree, but we all go to pay homage to Big Mama. Right? So when you send your delegations across, you have your chief scouts check in with the chief scouts on the land and the territory you traverse. We don't want people coming through without us knowing they coming through because it looked like they under attack. Because we travel in caravans, in groups. And when we all went to fight in the Seminole Wars, we left in tribes. Right? And they called them Seminoles because that's actually from a Latin word which means to be mixed, semi. Partial, because we was a mixture of tribes. Right? Now they tell the story that the Seminoles was African escaped slaves and Native Americans to try to make us think that we didn't have nobody that looked like us over here. Now, I keep telling people the Africans been telling us for the longest we indigenous over here. We organic to the land over here. Ab-original. That means original from the heart. Ab is the Egyptian word, mean heart. Right? So we are ab-original. We from the original or energy is source energy. Ab-or, right? And then you add the suffix original. Right? Of or pertaining to those two things. The heart of the origin or the or energy, source energy. That's tying us back on the maker cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. Thus says Elijah Muhammad. Right? That's all wise, right, and exact. What the people in the comments talking about? We ain't made no acknowledgement of the comments yet.
Yeah. The comments, they just they're shouting us out, keeping it true. Alien warlord, Inky was a scientist. Okay. Hey, if you got any comments, any questions for the brother Rod Haynes, post them in the comments. Like I say, I posted this. The brother don't do it for money, but we like to show the brother love because the big brother love because he coming through. He be dropping it on us, man. He be giving us the pieces that we need. So I posted his Cash App in the links. So hit him up, man. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to worry about sending young L Nut, man. Just send it to brother Rod Haynes. And yeah. So you got any questions, man? Hit us up, man, because we can keep going. But we want to get some feedback from y'all so we can see, what we can talk about.
Okay, so let's see if we can't find the resources part. Where it was talking about the resources.
Okay, label rights. Okay, let me do it. Let me get it. Let's see. I think here's somewhat protection, culture, heritage, and property. Is that a good one?
Stop. Back up.
Okay. right there.
Right there. Okay. So this is protection of cultural heritage and intellectual property. This is for the people in the music and entertainment industry who've been getting 360 raping you record deals. Right. And for the ones that the Jewish Defense League, the JDL, was murdering them, following that order of the Catholic Church that we went over earlier. Right. And when they was murdering them, they was taking they earned property because their intellectual property is theirs. But they was tricking them out of it and signing them into contracts, using a system of levying liens in order to leave the family deprived after the fact. That means that everything they took from Paris Jackson, they have to give it back to her.
Dang. That's crazy.
Her whole father estate that they took from her, the Sony records got to go back to her. All of that got to go back to her. And because he didn't default on his estate. They got to give her the opportunity to adjust the records of the estate, which she couldn't have had enough time to do that because she was a baby. Right? So they had to hold it. The proper process in law is hold the estate in abeyance until the children turn old enough to resolve the estate. So they got rid of it before her 18th birthday. She didn't reach the age of majority. They got to give it all back to her. They robbed the baby. They robbed the baby with their lies. They literally robbed the baby of her father's hard-earned estate. Right? So this is what this is talking about right here.
All right. You want to go down? You want to find that part about the resources, though, right? To develop.
Right to development. That's indigenous people had a right to maintain and determine their own priorities with respect to their political, economic, social, and cultural development in conformity with their own cosmovision. They also have the right to be guaranteed the enjoyment of their own means of sustenance and development, and to engage freely in their economic activities. This is right here is our family bank. This is telling us that we have to put our family banks back together so we can decentralize the centralized bank, and everybody big mama gonna have their own family bank and their own accountants in the family, their money handlers. It say the right include the development of policies, plans, program, and strategies, and the exercise of their right to development and to implement them in accordance with their political and social organizations, norms, and procedures, own cosmovision and institution. So when they saying cosmovision, right, that means your cosmology, cosmogony review. How do you see the creation story is your own business, right? And that they don't have no right to step on your belief systems with your cosmovision. We destined to rule Earth. Why did we say that? Because we have the blood tied to the land of the rulers of the earth. That's all. It's nothing personal. It's just family. And don't just believe what they tell you. Then you'll start seeing it for what it is. You know? And so when we tell people to recognize that they God, it's one thing we got to understand. One thing that's real important. Me personally, I'm gonna personalize this for myself so nobody don't feel like I'm picking on them. If somebody tell me, recognize I'm God, then they recognize the God in me. They should know, if they know anything about me or anything about the legend that leads you to who I am, they would know one thing. I might not do nothing you want me to do. I might not do nothing you tell me to do. But I guarantee you, I'm going to do everything I'm supposed to do, when I'm supposed to do it, how it is told to me to do it until I get it right. But just because it don't look like, sound like, smell like, or taste like how you want me to move, that don't mean I ain't moving the way I'm told to move by the Spirit. And that's where we all get caught up trying to keep up with the Joneses. You can't keep up with the Joneses in the spiritual pursuit, because the Joneses is looking after the dollar. Joneses is trying to go to work every day, which ain't nothing wrong with that, because that's part of the struggle. You know, I've been working my whole life since I can remember. I remember shoveling snow when I was 4, 5 years old. So I know that, you know, work is part of being who we are. But it comes a point like now. I'm done with this system. I'm done with the way they run this system. I'm done with the falsehood, the lies, the bullshit, the deceit, the treachery, the fake love, the fake hugs. I'm tired of all of that. So I don't want no more parts of it. I'm done participating in foolishness and ignorance. I'm done. So if you think that I'm just going to accept it because you said it, you're probably about 98% wrong. I'm not going to just accept it because you said it. And if you think I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, then you come show me what you think I'm supposed to be doing. And that's how I say that for anybody listening. If somebody tell you you're not doing your part to a sin, you tell them to show you what the hell they think you ought to be doing if they think you're not doing it right. Because there is no blueprint for majority of us. The blueprints are all in the Catholic Church, and we have them. They written. Step-by-step instructions to a sin at any given day of the week. We have that. But Francis don't want to release it, as that parasite in them been holding the documents hostage. But we don't need them, because we didn't always have things written on paper. We got stuff written in our DNA. If we follow the DNA, if we follow the obstacle, what make us emotionally struggle, then we'll find the path. Because fear, pain, and misery are the tools of control. If you study, did the volume go down again? Facebook be doing that, so I just be sitting here in the same spot and the volume will go up and down on its own. Anyway, so if you study and you do your part, then the only person can tell you whether you're doing it correctly or incorrectly Can you hear me now, Don? Anybody can chime in if y'all can hear me. I don't know what's going on with this Facebook situation. They've been trying to stop me for a long time from delivering information. So it don't really matter. I'm still gonna put it out. Oh, okay. Okay, so here we go. The blueprint is on your DNA. So you're gonna have these urges, feelings. You're gonna be angry at stuff that don't make sense to you. That's because you're supposed to think through it.